Welcome to Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show, presented by theindieradio.com, with your hosts, Kinte and Mozaic. This program hosts a weekly panel of men and women who discuss topics such as dating, the workplace, family, spirituality, cheating, and of course, sex. Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, this show is simulcasted live, audio and video between Facebook and YouTube, which allows listeners all over the world to gather together to tackle challenging relationship issues. And now, here is your host, Mozaic and Kinte. Hello, and welcome to an all-new episode of Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show. I am your host, Kinte, all the way live from Los Angeles, California, and I'm so happy to be here. My co-host, Mozaic, will be joining us in just a few, but let's get to our panel. All right, so as we always like to do, we'll do the ladies first. We're going to start off with the one and only Miss Melony. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Miss Melony. I am a cosplayer, podcaster, avid reader, and I'm very interested and happy to be here tonight to conversation with you guys tonight.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. And also joining us is Alixis. How are you doing, Alixis?
I'm doing well. I'm Alixis. I'm a seamstress. I make a lot of cosplay costumes, Disney, Harry Potter, like vintage style costumes. I'm from Texas, and I'm really excited to be here.
Now, we've already had a snafu. There's a certain virtual, or how would I describe her? AI
am I not
friend.
allowed to say where I'm from?
No. I have a certain AI friend who has a similar name to you, that when you say her name, she starts talking. And I've already triggered her in our pre-chat. So I'm gonna try not to trigger because she likes to start talking. So I think you guys know who it is. She works for Google.
Listen, that is why I renamed the one that's in my living room Echo, so that it doesn't trigger when.
You know what? That's a good idea. I think I need to rename it.
And I said his name. Never mind. Yeah.
All right. Before we get to the gentleman, let me introduce my co-host, Mozaic. How you doing, Mozaic?
I'm great. I am tired too. I just finished cutting the grass, and then my dad was like, I'm hungry. And I was like, wait a minute, you're making me late for my show. But I got to feed my dad. So, but I'm good. How's everybody tonight?
Excellent. And I'm so glad to see your smiling face. All right. So let's get to the fellas. All right. This gentleman, his name is Marcus. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, Marcus.
Hello, my name is Marcus. I'm actually on the other side of the country here in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm into everything: comic books, cartoons, wrestling, the entire nerd experience. I'm down with it. So I'm also part of a huge ministry known as Worth Ministry, where we go into the community and we just help out and we just give love to everyone we meet. So, yeah.
All right. I love that. I love it. And last, definitely not least, the one and only JB. Tell us about yourself.
What's poppin', everybody? It's your boy JB, part-time Jedi, full-time Wakandan. I'm like all over the nerd spectrum with it: wrestling, anime, comic books, video games, whatever you like. YouTube, podcast, and I do some writing too. So I guess I'll plug afterwards. I guess we all plug in afterwards. But yeah, we're glad to be here.
All right, and I'm glad that you are here. And okay, so this is just to kind of give a little background to what this show is about. About 4 years ago, we did our second, what we call Blerd episode, Black and Nerdy. And both shows that we did was very, very popular. And there was a desire by our fan base to do another show, but it took 4 years to do another one. So here we are. And I'm so happy that you find people are on the show, all new group of people to talk about this topic. Now, I'm 45 years old. And when I was coming up, the last thing you wanted to be called was a nerd. Like if you was called a nerd, that meant like you ain't got no woman, You know, you was getting teased, you were getting pushed in lockers. You know, people would, if people liked, you know, what is called, you know, today nerd culture, you kept it secret, right? You didn't. It was almost like you were in the nerd closet, essentially. And so nobody wanted to take that moniker on. Now things have definitely changed to where, you know, everybody wants to claim it. People who I would say, and we could talk about it. I don't know. I'm gonna just call some people out. They're not legit nerds. I feel like they're. Is there like a name for like a fake nerd? Like, is there a term for that? Like a ferd? I don't know.
I'm probably a fake nerd. I'm probably the least nerdiest person on this panel tonight. Like my nerdiness probably goes to Black Panther, and then I'm probably going to cosplay when I go to the Thundercat show in August. But
I think the
so I
term
got cat
has,
ears and everything.
I think the term has definitely evolved over time. I think, you know, back in the day, for me, I think nerd used to mean, for me, it used to be tied to intelligence or really a deep knowledge about a specific subject. And I think over time it's now evolved to just really enjoying a certain fandom. And so it's become, you're just really enjoying a certain thing. And so I think that change and shift has made people who enjoy, you know, anything that is related to a subculture, people have decided that that has made them a nerd, or blerd if you're a Black person who enjoys a subculture. And so I think that shift has made it, opened it up to more people wanting to be labeled as such.
Yeah.
I'm saying, you got a good point, and not to mention like all the good movies and everything the pop culture has brought, like being a blerd into the atmosphere. The word started off with a TV show called Scrubs, which was one of my favorites from back in the day, and now it's evolved into something completely different thanks to like the hits with the Marvel movies. People made it. Things like that made it okay for people to say they love Marvel and start reading the comics. And those who grew up with the very first Iron Man was like, yo, they started doing the cartoons, and it just exposed so much. And now pop culture in general, is just blown up. And it's just like the term nerd means so much to different fandoms. Like there's like car clubs out there. They call themselves cars enthusiasts, but basically they're car nerds.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
yeah.
My husband would be very mad about that.
But it's true. But it's true. That's what they are.
True.
Like, understand that we are the culture now and have been for quite a while now. And I'm glad that everything is now out in the forefront. And as the industry has proven that we are very viable and they're feeding us everything. We just got Moon Knight finished up. We just got Doctor Strange wrapped up in theaters this over the past 5 days now. Then we got Miss Marvel coming out, Obi-Wan, Thor. Like, we're getting a lot. We are being fed because we are the culture. They know we exist and they know we're out here in numbers. So it's more now than ever a golden time to be a nerd.
But the thing is, we've always been here. I mean, Star Wars came out in 1977. So It's not like we came out of nowhere. Their culture has existed, and they know that they could make money out of us, because when Star Wars came out, you know, obviously George Lucas didn't know how big of a thing it was going to be, but the culture was always there. There were always people who had an interest in sci-fi, fantasy, and all of these different subcultures. It's just that now they've figured out how to market to us, and they've realized that those of us who are now in our 30s and 40s have disposable income and are willing to spend lots of money on all of these things.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just that. It's those of us who grew up loving the culture, like Thundercats, He-Man, like Kevin Smith, for example, how he revamped the new He-Man revisions. And it was a really, really great job. But those of us who grew up and we're now in our 40s, we're now part of the movie scene where we're making and producing these things, where we're producing music, we're producing anime, we're producing the TV shows. These shows are not drawn by little kids or children. They're being made and produced by grown adults who grew up in that culture. They might have been, like you said, in the early days, back in the early 90s and the early 80s, yeah, they were like closet nerds, but now it's more popular. They're branching out and they're giving to fellow nerds. And there is a market for that. And they're just following the money trail. But at the same time, they're actually doing justice, because now that we've come along as far as like the television and as far as like production values, they now have the budget and they now have the technology to finally represent the things that they grew up loving and to bring it to the big screen or to the small screens.
Very well said. There's so much to unpack with this conversation, and there's so many different avenues, but I want to deal with this on different levels. And first, I think a definition would be great to start off with. Like, what would constitute somebody being a nerd? Because, I mean, look, I think a lot of people like Star Wars. A lot of people like anime. I'll be honest with you. Before I started doing podcasting, anime was Tina Turner to me. Anime. I didn't know anything about any of it, right? So I learned a lot from just doing this stuff, right? And I'm not all the way there. I thought I was a gamer until I actually sat down with gamers, I'm like, I ain't a gamer, I play at it, so I'm learning. So what I would love we'll go with Alexis. What is, in your estimation, how would you classify someone truly as a nerd? And then there's also the word geek, which sometimes I think people get it twisted with. So in your estimation, what separates a nerd from a geek, and what actually is a nerd in your estimation?
I feel like I guess in society, like how I view it is that geek is kind of like has a negative connotation to it. Mm-hmm. So I would say whatever you're doing just doesn't look cool, I guess, or the mainstream isn't into it, right? Nowadays, I feel like being a nerd is acceptable, whereas before it wasn't. Obviously, it was more like, it used to be something that would describe somebody who's, just excessively smart, maybe a little socially awkward. But I think over time, since we've started out being nerds as young children, and now we're adults, impacting the economy and the way that, mainstream society moves, I think we have a little bit more say in how that word is shaped. I think now nerd is more like, I'm just really, really, really into this certain fandom or multiple fandoms. Like either I'm a collector or I have a lot of knowledge about this thing, or I've seen every movie, every Marvel movie on the face of the planet, or, I know all of the lore and backstories to D&D, I think that's what a nerd is now.
Very well said. Now, what about the different, you said geek is more of a negative term.
I feel like it has like a negative connotation too. And I'd have never heard anybody call me a geek. And I'm not sure that I would like it if somebody did call me a geek. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay, so this might be an interesting avenue to go down to. We'll start off with JB. At what point did you realize that you were a nerd or you had nerd tendencies?
Oh man, to be honest, I've known pretty much my entire life. The thing is, I didn't know socially that it was considered unacceptable until I would say second or third grade. And that was when I was in private school. When I went to public school in sixth grade, that's when I really got hit. Because I went from nerdy shirts and dressing a certain way and watching certain things and playing video games to being introduced to an entire different crowd that was completely foreign to the things I was liking. I like Pokemon, and other than my two friends who had Game Boys, everybody else looking like, what in the world are you guys doing? And that was something that, you know how kids can be. That could be, they could be cruel and they could be mean. And that's a hard thing to shake off when you get a certain reputation. So me being a nerd, I didn't realize socially that they considered it bad, but I was just being me. But that was pretty much always what I always was. And it just got better at it with them socially as I grew older, because, you know, people don't really care at the end of the day. And they accept you for who you are as you grow up. And, you know, it just got easier. But I've always been this way.
I'm so glad we made it out the era where people were wearing the anime button-up shirts. I was tired.
Oh, yeah. For the record, that was never me. For the record, that was never me.
What about you, Melanie? When did you realize that, hey, God dang it, I'm a nerd?
I'm gonna say probably when I hit public school in the 5th grade. So I went to Catholic school for the 1st through 4th grade. I wasn't Catholic, but my parents wanted to keep me nice and sheltered. So when I hit public school and I realized that not everyone read and wrote book reports for fun, when I realized that I was probably a nerd. Yeah, that's when I hit public school, and realized that, not everyone was just reading books for the joy of it, outside of, assigned ones. That's probably when I realized that I was pretty much a nerd. Yeah, that was it for me. But for me, it was it was an escape. I loved books. I've always loved books. Reading was a good way to just enter new worlds, learn new things, and it was something I enjoyed. And I gravitated to other people who also loved doing those things. But I think also it was a way for me to find other people who had the same interests as me. So I always found the other nerds. So it was always, for me, a good way to weave out the other people that I didn't want to hang out with. So it was great.
Now, Melanie, please tell me you weren't the kind of kid that would say, oh, you forgot to assign us homework. That wasn't you.
I cannot. I'm going to plead the fifth.
Oh my goodness, no.
Yeah. I did grow up. I mean, by the time I got to college, I grew out of that, but I'm going to plead the fifth on that. Yeah, no, I was a kid who was sad on snow days. So, yeah.
I was that kid too. I wanted to go to school.
I love learning. Listen, I love learning. I loved school. I just wanted to learn. Like, I wanted to absorb as much information. Like, I love documentaries. I wanted to know everything. I still want to know everything. I just think knowledge is power. So, reading's fundamental.
I guess when after hearing you guys speak about being a nerd, I'm more nerdy of the educational side. Like, I took AP chemistry on purpose in 12th grade. Like, I love chemistry. I love science. Growing up, there was a kid. His name was Talon, and he used to call me Mother Earth. Because I knew worms had 6 hearts, and I loved worms, and I was just like a really nerdy kid. Like, some kids, they used to be like, I can play with her, like she like animals and all this stuff. Like, she want to talk about animals, but I grew up in a family where nobody was really kind of nerdy. I grew up in my mom's house. She was like, I don't give a shit about that. I don't care about no damn worms. So it wasn't really pushed as much, but I always loved it, and I always been me. And so now today, even though people were like, whatever, I don't nobody care about what you're talking about. Now, if they need something or want to know something, they ask me, because I know facts about the most useless shit on earth. And I can have a conversation with anybody. Like, you can put me in the middle of millionaires and billionaires, and I'll find something to relate to them about. And I think, that whole thing about being a nerd, that's probably where I was. I was never really like the anime girl or anything, or the Sailor Moon girl. I played a little Zelda, and I would kick your ass in Mortal Kombat. And some Tomb Raider, but that was about the extent for me.
Listen, it comes in handy with trivia. I am your girl on trivia night. I know all of the things, right? I can do all of the categories because I was reading all of the books. So, all this knowledge comes in handy for something.
All right. So let's go to Alexis. When did you realize you were a nerd?
I think I always was, but I didn't realize it until the Harry Potter books started coming out.
Yes.
And then I had to have them all, and I was waiting in the line to get them all, and I was like, "Oh, this might not be normal."
Okay.
All
right, and Marcus, what about you? When did you realize?
I can actually say it's just like JB's probably all my life. I mean, when you grow up and you realize that you love watching cartoons more than you like playing sports, then around then. But I don't know. I have to say it always goes back to like the early 80s, man. When I got the first Nintendo system, that's made me a gaming nerd. When I actually understood some of the cartoons that I was watching, I was like, yo, He-Man, like Voltron, like that's probably made me a cartoon nerd. When I got into high school and I started clicking, like in high school, it was so weird. Like I was considered to be an outcast because I was the only black kid in all like high school that listened to heavy metal music. I was never into like I did know like a lot of R&B. I did know about the rap game, but I was never me. I would never wanted to be the popular kid. We called them back in the day. We used to call them preps, and I didn't want to be that. So I always struggled because I wanted to be who I wanted to be, and so I ended up becoming an outcast, which led me into like a group of friends, and that's how I got into listening to rock music, heavy metal, classical, and just different pop culture. And just like Miss Melony said, you find that group of people that you just gel with. And
So you were an outcast that didn't listen to Outkast.
Outkast was. Yeah. I take that back. I knew who Outkast was because my sister was one of the popular kids who was into Outkast, who was into Biggie, who was into Tupac. So yeah, I still had that on the back end, but I would prefer listening to like Pantera, Sepultura, Nine Inch Nails.
Well, Nine Inch Nails is classic. You got to listen to Nine Inch Nails.
Oh yeah, I'm actually going to see them in 2 weeks. So okay,
all right.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I'll just say I've just been a nerd all my life. But when it comes to the term nerds versus geek, I don't think there is a difference between the two. Like, say for instance, a nerd is somebody who will be more knowledgeable, but a geek is somebody who is overly obsessive with their knowledge, but yet they're the same thing. They show a same passion for that same category. So they're more one and the same than they are different, I should say. So I don't know. It's weird. I just like to.
They're definitely cousins.
Yeah.
I looked up the word geek just to see what the dictionary says. It says, and it says an unfashionable or socially inept person. And the other version of it says a performer at a carnival or circus whose show consists of bizarre or grotesque acts. I didn't think I wanted to be a geek.
Circus geek.
Yeah, I think geeks are socially awkward. I think to your point, it's they have the nerd aspect, but it's that they don't have the socially they're not socially acceptable. So it's more of they don't know how to display their enthusiasm in a way that is socially acceptable. So they geek out, right? So they're the people who like they love Harry Potter, but like they always come dressed up as Voldemort and then are like walking around with their wands and trying to hex people all the time. Like they're the people who are running around in the hallways doing the Natoro run. Like those are the people who were geeks. And it's like, it's fine that you love the thing, but like you don't have to be like geeking out all the time. Like you can be a normal person and enjoy the thing.
I almost feel like those people may be on the spectrum, or maybe they are autistic, because like some of them, that when they are so socially awkward, it's like you have to be damn near on the spectrum for like you can kind of tell a little bit, like you might be a little bit different than everybody else. Because I know, like my nephew, he's not, but his friend, and I was like, I think he is on the spectrum. Just the things that he kind of fixates on, like he loves something, he loves it to death, and he becomes whatever it is. He becomes Superman, he becomes Spider-Man, and he's a 16-year-old, and he's still Spider-Man. So
I think that's probably the reason why I don't really like the word geek so much, because it does have like that socially inept connotation to it. And just like you said, I think that when people are socially inept, it's probably because they are on the spectrum. And I just don't like necessarily calling people like that out, because you can't control it, like
right. You have no control over that.
Yeah, at all. And I just don't think that's
I mean,
although I am I am the kind of person that will wear my cape and bring my wand everywhere I go. So I don't know how I feel about that.
No, 100%. I sit with my wand at my desk all day, but I have no problem with that. There's no problem with that. If I could cosplay to work every day, I would. I sometimes do light bonding to work. Like sometimes I do a casual bond because it's fun. So I have no problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think that sometimes, there's a time and a place for things.
You're not going to show up to court dressed as Sailor Moon, like.
I mean, it depends.
It depends on
in the
court.
name of the courts, they're gonna punish you.
Out of the ticket, I mean, perhaps I could. It depends. It really depends.
Okay.
I feel like when they say what geeks are socially, well, you said like they might be on the spectrum. I think a lot of them, they're just socially awkward because they just don't know any better. Probably because they did feel that level of isolation, that they just didn't really have their friends, and they just relied on those heroes and those characters that they saw on TV or in the games or in the books that they read. And that does create that level of overindulgence. And I've known some people that were like that eventually did grow out of that, and they cringe when they think about how they were when they were younger. Where they're kind of like, yeah, homie, you did that. But I mean, they didn't have the opportunity to be socialized like that, and they grew up, they learned, they knew better. Some of them, that's just unapologetically who they are. And I mean, that's okay too. But I agree with Alexis. I feel like geek does have that negative connotation to it. You call me a nerd all day, every day. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. You call me a geek, there's a part of me that's going to be like, in the back of my head because of those same reasons and because of those people. But at the end of the day, man, it's all love. You like what you like, you love what you love. As long as you ain't hurt nobody, it's whatever.
Well, I'm very blessed today to have a panel of experts in nerd culture. And I'm going to use you guys' brains for a little thought experiment. And I'm going to start off with you, JB.
Sir.
You got to help somebody out. All right. So say like your friend who's not a geek, not a nerd, doesn't really know anything about it. Him and his wife is the same way.
Okay.
They have a child who is starting to display nerd sensibilities. And he's like, I don't understand. My kid is chasing invisible Pokemon around. He's talking in Japanese. I didn't even know. I barely speak English. How does he even know Japanese, right? So what do you do? What would you say if he's reaching out to you because he knows that you, let's say he's your cousin, your brother, your friend, and he's like, help me. What do I do? My son, my daughter, whatever it is displaying these sensibilities, and they don't know how to do it. What would you say?
And it's funny you mentioned that because I actually have a friend who reached out to me over his son, who's very much into his nerddom right now, who's very much diving into it. And I told him, like, as a parent, just embrace him. Like, talk to him, understand what he's liking, what he's going through. And he is very much going through a socially awkward phase at school where he's being bullied and he's getting picked on because of the things that he likes. And he has a younger brother that doesn't understand him, but it's like somebody has to. And that's kind of why he's kind of acting out right now. That's why he's kind of isolating himself. And he doesn't really talk to anybody or really trust anybody because he kind of feels alone. That's something that I'm sure a few of us here can relate to growing up, being a nerd, because not a lot of people with us growing up understood us, or we really had somebody to lean on or talk to or relate to about these things. I talked to him about it, and he seemed to light up about it when we talked about Star Wars for like 2 freaking hours. I didn't know that much about Anakin Skywalker, but yeah, just talk, embrace. Like, he feels alone, and it's different, and he feels alone because it's different, not because it's like a bad thing. It's just different, and kids can be cruel. Just be that safe space for him. Let him grow up. Let him know it's okay to like what you like and be what he wants to be. That's all.
All right. What about you, Alexis? What would you say? The same situation.
I would just try and find out what they're into, and I would provide more reading material for that. And like, I would just really encourage it, because I mean, some of my best friends are nerdy folks, and they are just very creative people. They're very open-minded people. And the more that we have of that, I think the better.
All right. And what about you, Marcus? Same situation.
Yo, pretty much. Like I'll say, yo, okay, let's go to a con. The next con, I'm buying both of you guys tickets. But in all seriousness, I really would take him to a con. But I would also say, start watching the shows that he's watching. Find out a little more about what he's into and just play along with him. Like, be that friend. Like, be there for him. Get into the world that he is experiencing. Like, play pretend. Like, if he's being Superman, then Superman has a villain. Find out the villain. That way, you guys can like role play as a family. Like, you be the villain, and he be the good guy. Just interact with him. Find out the shows that he's watching. Watch them with him. Do life with him. Don't be afraid to just go out there and experience something new. Yeah, you might not get it, but that's why he's there. You can say, okay, so who's that guy? Like, is he the good guy? Is he the bad guy? Like, what's going on? Like, how are they gonna fight? Like, what's his power level? What's this thing about power levels? Like, what's this Super Saiyan thing they keep talking about? Why did he go from black hair to gold hair in just a second? Get into that with them, and they will explain that to you. I'm pretty sure that's how I would interact with them. Like, interact with the kids, find out what they're into, and just be there with them.
So, oh wow, I like that. That's pretty incredible. Yeah. I mean, because I know people don't think about it like that in those terms. Melony, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to add to that conversation.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say similarly. I think going to conventions is a really good suggestion, because I think people often don't think that there are things for them at conventions. They think it's only focused on one thing, but you'd be surprised at how many different things there are at conventions for people who might not be specific to specific fandoms, but there's things there for everyone. But I definitely agree. Learning more about or asking your child what they're interested in and having them explain it to you is a great way for them to know that you're interested in what they're interested in, and for you to find out more about what it is. But watching them with them, you might find out that you might like it too. So I think that that's a great suggestion as well. But yeah, I mean, just showing interest and finding out what it is. Also, just so that you know what it is that they're into, just so that you're aware of what they're watching, so that you can be, in tune with it, so you can make sure that it's something you might want them to be watching. Because I don't know, I would want a little bit of oversight over what my kid is doing, watching, reading, playing, all of that. So I wouldn't let them out there doing whatever. I would want a little oversight over what they're watching, ingesting, whatever. So I would want to make sure that, whatever it is they're into, whatever fandom it is, that I had a little oversight onto what it is.
And that oversight might be a big key, because it's a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It gets deep real quick.
Yes, sir.
I've seen some of those animes.
You can think of.
I've seen some of those animes and some of those mangas. Yeah, no, I don't want my kid watching all of that.
Not until they get a certain age, but they can understand
games, all that. It all has a dark side to it. People get real creative on the internet.
And
Rule 34.
Since Melony brought it up, let's talk about these conventions, because I've heard a lot about some of these conventions, and I've done a show. I did a show years ago where I interviewed. It was 9 female cosplayers, and they were talking a lot about the conventions. And one thing that I found very interesting that those ladies said, and this was quite some time ago. This is probably over 5-6 years ago. One thing that they said was they were just looking to have fun at the conventions. They were looking to have a good time, dress up as their favorite characters, hang out with their friends. And I asked an interesting question. I said, what if do people hook up at those conventions? Right? Because me, that's where my mind goes to. Right? Because I'm like, if there's you want to get the sand at the beach, right? So and it was interesting. Those women were like, no, I hate that. I mean, they try. I'm just there to have fun, and they shot it down. I was saying to myself, well, you're with like-minded people, right? People are into you. I mean, it seems natural. You guys are single, and they were shooting it down. And
can we cuss here?
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Nerds be fucking. Nerds be fucking. Like,
Right.
there is. I'm gonna shoot that down right there. That if you're not there for that kind of thing, that's cool. But there are people that are, and there are people that do. I know for a fact there is a subreddit for a convention they hold here every year, Dragon Con. There's a convention. There's a subreddit for the convention where people are scheduling hookups. That's a thing. There are people there right now. You can go. I don't know it, but I know it exists. I know the person that knows where it's at if you want to link later. But yeah, nerds be fucking. Nerds have no aversion to fucking.
No, see, that wasn't the thing I got from it. It wasn't that they had aversion to having sex. It was that they didn't want to have sex with the guys that were there they want to have sex, but not with those guys at the convention. See, the guys that I talked to.
Yeah, I think there's two levels to it, right? So there are people who will hook up with people who are going to the convention. So there are specific folks who will hook up with specific folks. And then there are the people who you spoke to. Yes, we're not looking to hook up with the majority of the people who are going to the convention. We're not. We're not.
That's what I was getting at. Because I asked guys on like I did a show right after that with guys, right? And their whole thing was, yeah, I want to go to the convention and meet me a woman and have a great time with her. Their whole mindset was completely different. Whereas the women were like, no, I don't want to hook up with those guys.
I'm gonna say I went to New York Comic Con and they had a speed dating, right? So we did a speed dating and I signed up for it because why not? And the amount of women to the amount of men who were at the speed dating, it was just sad. There were like so many more men than there were women, and it was just depressing. It was just a very depressing time. Yeah,
sorry.
it wasn't very fun. It wasn't very fun.
All right, so can I jump in for a moment?
Sure.
All right, so I think that sometimes when it comes to like being a man and when I go to cons, like there are some really amazing cosplayers out there, and of course you want to compliment them on their cosplay forms. But if a guy says, "Wow, you did a great job on your cosplay. That's one of my favorite characters, and you nailed it," sometimes I guess it depends on like some of the guys, not myself, but I guess it's how you present yourself. Like not every guy is looking to like try to get your number. They're just complimenting you on it. But at the same time, there are a lot of guys out there who don't know how to like correctly talk to a woman. And when they meet somebody who's as energetic or into the same passion as they are, they don't know how to come about it by talking to them or speaking with them, not necessarily to hook up with them or get their number, but just to talk with them in general, just to become like their friends. Like eventually maybe something would come out of it, but they're not necessarily, well, I can't say not all of them are necessarily going to like, hey, I want to get your number. I'm trying to get into your pants. Like, yo, let's do this now. Like, no, it's not that. Guys can be, I don't know, we can be weird, I should say. Some of us want to be nice, gentle, and kind compliment, but at the same time, there are those out there who are looking to like try to hook up. It's like, oh wow, she's into the same thing I'm into. That's my next wife. Let me go tolerate her.
Approach is everything.
Exactly.
As in all things.
Okay, so okay, say I'm a nerdy dude and I'm going to give me a convention. What's like a big convention?
MomoCon is here in Atlanta in a couple of weeks.
I'm about to say
MomoCon.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to MomoCon, and I want the ladies to help this fictional guy out, right? I got the Birdman hand rub. I'm going to MomoCon and I'm trying to hook up. So we'll start off with Alexis. Like, you got to help the guy out. Like, what are some do's and don'ts when you're at MomoCon or whatever, like to help this guy out? He's already kind of nerdy, so he might be a little socially awkward. So how can you help him? Help a brother out.
Maybe just tell him, compliment somebody that you're interested in and try and start a conversation about, obviously, their cosplay, because obviously they're interested in that cosplay or that anime. So maybe try and talk to them about that, and then just, work up a conversation until you're comfortable, and then maybe slip it in there like, hey, I've really enjoyed my time with you. You mind if we exchange numbers? It's literally that simple. But I think what happens a lot of the times is fellas get really tripped up, and they think they have to go either too much or they just don't go enough at all. So they just don't try. So I don't know. I feel like it's super simple, but they just don't keep it simple sometimes.
We'll always trip ourselves up. We are good for that.
All right, so Melony, you got to help this brother out. I mean, what does he do? Okay, let's say brother sees Melony on the convention floor, right? What are some things that will turn Melony off, and also, well, I don't know if you want to give away the secret sauce. Because somebody might be like taking notes and be like, "Oh, that's how I get her." Okay.
No, my friends will tell you that I don't catch signals well at all, so I don't know if I'm very helpful. I guess I would say just normal conversation works. I am easily excitable, so if we are talking about or excited about the same kind of thing, we're talking about something we're looking at, or you compliment me on my cosplay, or we're checking out something on the show floor, or we're at a panel and we're talking about the same panel discussion, and we come out of the panel and we're excited about whoever was speaking. That's a good way to start up a conversation. I think starting off with something that we have in common is always great, and I think just being yourself and being authentic is the best way to spark anything, and not trying too hard, as Alexis said. Like, just really just being authentic and not trying too hard.
Dang, well, what if your self sucks?
Well, then that's not.
You gotta get a new self.
I mean, I don't know how to help you there. I don't know how to help you there.
Abort mission.
I don't know how to help you there.
You are screwed. Okay. I don't know. All right. So let me ask the fellas this. You guys been to these conventions, I imagine?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Are you guys single? Any of you guys single?
Yes.
Single-ish.
All right. Or, I mean, okay. In the past, have you gone to these conventions with maybe the hope in the back of your mind you might meet a nice young lady? Is that ever crossed your mind? Be honest.
No, that's not me. I can't speak on Marquez if he wants to chime in here. But no,
not me. I just want to go to have fun and just like see different things. Look at some of the artist alleys are amazing.
Yes.
Amazing people. That's why all of mine, which I can't actually show, but you can see a few of them in the background. But that's one of the primary reasons why I go to the cons, not just to look at the cosplay, but just to buy from the artist alley, because there are some amazing and talented people. But no, to answer your question, I do not go to look up. If I see somebody who looks great, especially in a cosplay, I compliment them. But I don't go like, well, I always go like, hey, do you mind if I take a picture with you in your cosplay? And then I say, wow, you did a great job. And, I just let them know how amazing and well detailed their costume is. Even if it's not as detailed, like, yo, you did a great job. Even if it's a little like kids cosplaying for the first time, I always ask, like, do you mind if I take a picture of you? You look really amazing. Of course, I got, parents are right there as well. Like, you guys did a great job. And I really appreciate you guys coming here to a con and introducing them to this culture. I wish I would have had that as a kid. But then again, growing up in the 80s and early 90s, these type of things didn't exist. So it's really good that they're raising their kid now and introducing them to that culture. But to answer the original question, no, I just go to a con to have fun. I never go to look to hook up with somebody.
I feel like the guys that do go to hook up are the ones that should not be hooking up.
I was gonna say, I've never been hit on at a con, not once.
Because those are the guys that are like actively creepy.
I promise, not once. I also have that resting bitch face though, so
that might do it.
If you got that fuck off sign written on your forehead, that'll do it every time. But no, like I mean, there's so much to do at a convention that if you're just so zoomed in and focused on trying to hook up with somebody, then you're really taking away from your own experience. Because there are panels, there's artist alleys, there's the gamers room, there are the card game rooms. There's just so much to do and see. And if your just primary thing is to try and score something or hook up, then you're really wasting your time. You have a really good experience in front of you that you're not taking full advantage of. So no, I know people who do that, and no, that's not my thing. That's not my bag. You see me, I'm going from panel to panel at a convention every time.
Right.
I got my schedule. I know where I'm going. I got 15 minutes to be here. I got 30 minutes to the next one over there. I got a lunch break schedule right here. I'm on the move. I got my notepad. I got my water with me, and I'm gone.
Oh yeah, you always got to make a plan when you go to a con, especially if there's
Absolutely. That's one-on-one.
You got to.
Well, I haven't been yet to. I always say I want to go to Comic-Con. I live in Los Angeles, so I'm not far from San Diego. And every year I'm saying I'm going to go, and I end up never going. I would love to go there, but I hear it's a madhouse there.
Well, that's one of the best
things.
Yeah.
You're in Columbus.
That's part of it.
Yeah, there's so many different cons. Like, of course, you have the big cons. Like in LA, you do have the big mega con, but there's so many smaller cons. Like your local library even puts on cons, and you can start off by going to that just to see, what it's like. Here in Jacksonville, our libraries, we have cons like maybe once a year at different libraries. Of course, we also have like Free Comic Book Day, and we have for the adults, we have what's known as GAM. GAM actually stands for Gaming, Arts, and Music. It's not a con at all. It's just a place where all of us, like fun, loving people who love different atmosphere, who love the nerdy culture, who love the geeky culture, we all get together and we just have like one giant party. And it's just different themes. One of the first themes that I ever went to was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And the entire thing was themed around the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We had an anime night. We had like a Legend of Zelda. Each year was something different. Of course, thanks to COVID, things have changed. Now we have like mini pop-ups that we do throughout the year. But it's a celebration of everything, not just anime, not just cosplay, but just sci-fi, video games, arts, everything. We have what's known as actually a couple of weeks ago on, I believe it was May the 1st, we had a drink and draw where we get together at a brewery, and some of our local artists, they teach you how to draw different figures. We had a drink and draw for Pokemon. We just had a drink and draw for Nintendo where you draw all the Nintendo figures. And that's becoming really popular. So hopefully our next drink and draw will be something themed along, I don't know, like cartoons or something like that. But it's just
so you're saying draw, not like draw.
Just draw.
Because you probably don't want to drink and do that kind of draw.
You don't want to do that. And you don't have to cosplay to go to Comic-Con. You don't have to dress up. You can you can go in regular clothes. You don't have to wear a costume. You can go as a plain clothes, and you can still have a great time. I mean, like you said, there's so much to do. Like there's panels. Sometimes you can see previews for movies. I mean, there's book cons, there's movie cons, there's comic cons. There's cons for specific TV shows. We
have a Power Rangers con here in Atlanta that we do every August, where Power Rangers from different generations get together, and it's at a hotel. It's basically in a hotel lobby, but they do it every year.
Here in Columbus, they have a Fanboy Expo, and then there's another one, Galaxy Con. And so when I was driving for Uber, I'm picking people up. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Why do you guys have on costumes? And they're like, oh, it's the con. And I'm like, oh. So I've picked up a couple superheroes because sometimes I worry because we also have a big Pride festival here, and there's always a lot of drag shows, and so I'm always I'm gonna have to ask because you never know what's going on in Columbus unless you're part of the who's who that's in that industry or thing that you like.
Man, one of my most favorite things is like after a con when you still dressed up in full costume and you go into like a restaurant like Denny's and everybody just stare at you like, what in the world is going on? You have to tell them it is so fun.
So the question we have in the chat is, if you've never been to a con and want to go, should you wear a costume on the first time you go, or is that too much? You think you should maybe save it for the next one, or should you go straight the first con you go in full cosplay mode?
No.
It's completely up to you. It's whatever your comfort is. I mean, because you've never cosplayed before and you're doing it, it's going to be outside your comfort zone, especially in a public space. If you feel comfortable, then by all means do it. If you don't, then, wait it out.
Yep. No one's going to look at you funny either way, so.
No, not at all. I've been to several conventions. Oh, go ahead. I'm doing my first thing.
Just have fun with it. I mean, you can be wearing like a regular Punisher Skull t-shirt and boom, you get a Punisher. I mean, come on. One of
Can
my
you-
very first cosplay was as one of the Doctor Who's, which is dressed like a normal human, except he just had like a little sonic screwdriver and like a scarf.
Can
Yeah,
you
I mean, you can-
cosplay as like Tupac or
Yes.
or
Yes.
Michael Jordan?
You can cosplay as anything. I mean,
I'm gonna
seriously,
be a cat in August.
right?
I saw somebody.
Exactly. You can casual cosplay your first. You can start as closet cosplay is what they call it. You go into your closet and you find something that reminds you of some character that you want to embody, and that's how you can start cosplaying in a very casual way. And then you work your way up. My first cosplay was Velma, right? So I found an orange sweater and a pink skirt, and that's how I started.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
definitely
doing
gonna be
my-
a cat when Thundercat base is here. I
I'm-
ordered my cat ears. I got my leopard print leggings. I'm already getting my t-shirt dress made. It's going down. I can't wait.
I'm doing my first cosplay, and all I'm doing is getting the yellow shirt. I'm gonna be Luke Cage.
There you go.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, I've seen somebody. It doesn't have to be down to the letter when you do your cosplay. It can be as far away or as close as you want to be. I saw somebody do wear Iron Man armor, but they fashioned it like Prince. So instead of having like the little core reactor in the middle, like it had the Princess logo on it instead, and
That is
it was all
funny.
purple. It was
Funny.
decked out. It was dope.
That is
Man, if I
funny.
had the money, yo, those people, you definitely put some money into artist equipment like that. But just to be able to see that level of talent, that's the other reason why I love going to like different cons and just different things around the city. It's to see things just like that, things that you would never expect to see before. And it's just, I'm never disappointed. Never.
A girl I used to work with, she makes her costumes, and she's pretty dope with that, with the needle and that machine. Like I would have never thought that she would be, that talented with sewing, but she makes all her costumes. She makes herself, and I just think that is just so amazing that you put that kind of time into it.
Oh wow, that's pretty incredible. Now, Alexis, I know one thing is that you design clothes yourself. Do you do so you do your own cosplay clothes as well?
Yeah, I do my own stuff. I make a lot of cosplay or like bounding for a lot of people. I do a lot of Disney bounds for people. So like if they want
I'm gonna need to call you, girl.
Oh, right. Yeah. And then like my own clothing line that I have, like I do little nerd pieces here and there. Like I just came out with like a cardigan sweater that's got like a cape sort of thing for the multiverse release. So
Oh, nice.
The Disney
Very
people.
cool.
the
I
Disney
think
people
they're
are some
different.
hardcore people.
They're different kind of people. I think they're on a different level. They need a pill or two because they take
Hey now, wait a minute.
they take Disney to extreme, boy. I'm like,
there is nothing wrong with being an adult Disney lover, okay? There's nothing wrong with us. We like going to the parks. We enjoy Disney bounding. We like dressing up as princesses, and it's fine. Most of my cosplays are actually Disney cosplays. I do. That's just where I am. I've done most of the Disney villains because they're just fun to be.
Exactly.
They're just fun to be. But yeah, no, I'm a Disney. That's my number one fandom is Disney. I probably know most of the Disney factoids. I will win most of the Disney trivia just because that's where my fandom is. But yeah, no, yeah, Disney people are different people. I will agree with you there. Yeah,
very much different. Because my ex-boss loves it. And like, I never understood her why she was the way she was. And she would talk to you like if you were a preschooler. And so like this, and she'd be like, very good. That is so awesome. I'm like, you should be like a kindergarten teacher, like not like a call center manager. But then when I finally saw that, I was like, oh, you're one of them. You like to dress up as Disney. You are Disney crazy. Okay, I get it now. So
yeah, once you start collecting the ears, and once you start, going to the park once or twice or 3 times a year, it's just, it just.
All right, trust me. I live 2 hours away from the park, and it is pretty awesome. I'm not afraid to admit when I do go, I do love having my face painted. That is.
now, I cried when I met Donald Duck. when I was a kid, though. I did cry. I was so happy to be there. Disney is very magical place, very magical place. Even though I was like, it's very strange here. There are no bugs.
No bugs.
No
Why
bugs.
it's the most wonderful place on earth.
There are no bugs here.
You know, it's funny. This is actually kind of a sad story. When I was a kid, I was a big fan of the Transformers, and the characters were at Universal Studios.
Yes.
And I was like a little kid. I think I was under 10, and I remember begging my mom to take me so I could meet the Transformers because they were promoting it everywhere. And when I got there, the Optimus Prime guy scared the shit out of me because when he walked, it had the whoosh, whoosh. And you know, Optimus Prime is not like Mickey Mouse. You know, he's not like, hey kids, you know, come and take. You know, he's like, you know, he talks with a very authoritative voice, and he actually scared me. You know, and then I didn't want to take the photo with his ass. You know, I was like, and my mother was like, I brought you all the way down here.
I paid all this money.
I know, and I was like, I didn't want no
Optimus,
part.
you rolled out the opposite direction.
I did. Yeah, I was like, yeah, he's not like, you know, like Mickey, you know, you're and Donald and all those guys. They're like kid friendly, whereas Optimus Prime isn't. He's not really a kid friendly character.
No, he's a leader. He's a military leader.
Right.
I
I
think
do have
one
to tell you this. Like down here at the Universal in Florida, the guy who like does the Megatron or who voices Megatron, he has to be a brother because he cracks on everybody. There's no doubt. He plays dozens. Even little kids. He played to dozens. He's not afraid to go there.
Oh my goodness! I think one of the most slept on amusement parks that people don't really know about that we wouldn't go to is Canada Wonderland. They have Hanna-Barbera. When I was there, when I was younger, one of my things I wanted to do for my birthday, I probably was about 7 or 8, was I wanted to ride the train to Canada. I grew up in Michigan. So we ride a train to Toronto because I wanted to order from a French restaurant in French. And then we went to Canada Wonderland, and it was like so fun. They had all the Hanna-Barbera characters. People were actually dressed as some of the Hanna-Barbera characters. Like you've seen Pebbles, and you know it was really cool. I was like, this is a really nice park.
Yeah. Didn't Six Flags buy them out? Like if you go to Six Flags, isn't the Hanna-Barbera characters there?
I think they still are. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I haven't been there.
Still do DC characters.
I've been to Six Flags forever.
I live like 10 minutes from a Six Flags here in Texas, but we don't have any of the Hanna-Barbera characters at our park. Just to the DC stuff.
Yeah, I'm in Ohio, so we just have Kings Island. I think that's Paramount, and then we have Cedar Point.
Our Six Flags still has like the Batman theme side of the park.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
I was like, man, I do miss all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I wish they bring those back though. When they brought back Space Ghost back in the day, I used to.
Space Ghost was my god.
Space Ghost was crazy. Like
I don't know. They keep disappointing me when they keep bringing back these cartoons. So they keep changing up the drawing style. Like what they did to Huey, Dewey, and Louie made me very angry.
That
was a good show, though.
DuckTales.
That was a good show.
Yeah, no, it was. I just don't like the drawing. I don't like the animation. Style.
I'm a nostalgic type of person. I'd be like, if it wasn't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff was hand drawn though. Right. That was a different era. The tech was just different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
Say this. Like when I saw them appear at the end of Space Jam, I had to pause the movie because I was pointing out each and every character. It was like, yo, I remember you. I remember you, Jabba Jaws. I remember
what I want to do right here before we do say goodbye is I'm going to bring up some typical nerd fandoms, and I want you guys to raise your hand if you are with it, and if not, you can just do the thumbs down. Okay. All right. So, and you too, Mosaic. All right. So we'll start with the most easiest one, Star Wars. All right, we got one thumbs down. Okay. All right. Real quick. Real quick. Those who gave a thumbs up, just real quick. Who's your favorite Star Wars character? We'll start with JB.
Oh,
Man, Luke Skywalker. He was like, my godfather got me a New Hope when I was 4 years old, and that was it. That was it. So Luke is my guy.
All right, Melanie.
oh my goodness. I'm gonna go with Qui-Gon because if he hadn't died, we wouldn't have had a Darth Vader.
If he hadn't died, we probably wouldn't have got taken.
Not spared, realistically.
All right, Marcus.
All right, I have to say Vader and Mace Windu.
All right, and Mosaic. Who do you like? Star Wars.
Yeah, I like characters for different reasons. So I like the Ewok.
They're so cute.
You know what?
He's so cute.
Don't.
I had an Ewok that you wind him up in the back and he sang the Star Wars theme song.
You know what? And y'all can jump on me all you want. My character is Jar Jar.
No.
Jar Jar
I'm a big fan of her. I'm a big fan of her.
And we need his own show. Forget Obi-Wan, forget Mandalorian. We need the Jar Jar story because it needs to be told. What happened to him after Order?
He turned into a Sith. He turned into a Sith Lord. Is what happened to Jar Jar.
Apparently, he's supposed to be a Sith Lord all along.
He turned into a Sith Lord. That's what happened to Jar Jar.
This man handed the keys to Palpatine.
I did a bit one time on the show about Yoda was a punk, and
he is because he caused the whole thing.
And because you know how he gave up in episode 3,
Right?
And then he went into hiding and all of this stuff. I was obviously kidding, but oh my god, I got so much.
I like Baby Yoda though.
Yeah, and he obviously, and that's another
Yeah.
thing too about Yoda. He tells the Jedi's to not have sex, but clearly he was going around leaving babies all over.
No.
Grogu was not his child.
Grogu
That
was
was
not
the
his
thing.
kid.
With
Grogu
Yoda.
was not his kid.
But certain Jedi are allowed to have relationships for
him.
whatever.
To procreate if they are the last of their kind, they are allowed to go and continue their race.
Right.
But Master Money had a family. But Kit Fisto was dating Layla Sakura. So that was the thing.
right. Yoda is like writing that into the book. Like, yeah, I'm yeah, baby, I'm.
Anyhow,
All I know is
Man, no Yoda slander.
No, but it was a bit. I was kidding.
I'm here for the Yoda slander, though. I'm not against the Yoda slander. I understand.
No slander that shall there be.
All right. So the next fandom is Harry Potter. Everybody?
Never seen it. I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, I've never seen Harry Potter either. So I would ask you your favorite characters are, but I only know there's Grindelwald and
wow.
There's Harry Potter for sure. I know him.
Harry Potter.
And then wait, and then they do that thing where they ride the brooms, right?
Quidditch.
There you go. And that's the only scene I've seen. I saw it when they were doing the broom.
I'll say Neville Longbottom is the secret MVP of that whole joint.
100%.
No.
100%.
That is my guy.
100%.
I had to say it's Luna.
Right there.
Luna is my
Luna
favorite.
is number 2.
Luna's up there. Luna's definitely up there.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5 and not 5.
I know that there's what's her name? Emily Watson, right? Was in it.
Hermione.
Emma Watson. Yes, Emma Watson. Yep.
And like basically all the British actors was in it, right?
Yes, everybody in England was in that
Even
movie.
the Batman wasn't the Batman in it? What's his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson is in it. Yes.
The sparkly guy. All right. Okay. So all right, Twilight.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Rest in peace to my boy Cedric Diggory.
Terrible.
No, I've never watched that either.
I've never seen it.
I
Never
read all the books, but
Terrible.
I read
See what now?
read
What are you talking about? Twilight?
Terrible.
Oh, I ain't got enough thumbs for that.
Right. Terrible.
All right.
It's okay.
All right. Marvel, the movie, MCU, the MCU.
Movies and the comics.
Yes.
All things
All of it.
Marvel.
All right. All right. Real quick, who's everybody's favorite Marvel character? Just
Dr.
like-
Strange.
That's tough.
100% Dr. Strange.
Man, my
Dr.
cousin
Strange.
T'Challa.
Me too. I would say T'Challa because he's a brother.
But Peter Parker's like right there for
I'm
me.
gonna go with Captain America.
Captain America. Okay.
Both versions. The both versions.
Okay. All right. DC. Oh, no one
your
can't do it.
I try and I try and I try.
Come
You got to
on.
watch the animated one.
They are
like-
doing so much work with the comics right now. We are eating so good right now.
I actually like DC better.
I like DC better too because Superman is my boy.
Yeah, Batman is pretty cool.
Yo, if it wasn't
My
for
favorite-
Batman the animated series, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
These are facts. No lies at all. My favorite is Nightwing. He's Batman with a social network.
Oh, Nightwing is. I mean, Nightwing cakes, man, just cakes.
I don't know. Cyborg has always been my favorite.
Cyborg's pretty rad.
Okay.
All right. So I'm assuming everybody likes anime, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So let's just, instead of asking you, does anyone like anime? What's your favorite anime? We'll start with
One Piece.
All right, Marcus says One Piece. Well, what about you, Alexis? What's your favorite?
Probably Demon Slayer, I guess. Right now.
Demon Slayer's tight.
I don't know. Mine bounces around. So
JP?
Yu Yu Hakusho, but Attack on Titan is creepy.
oh, Attack on Titan's
is-
so
It
good.
is creepy.
It is good.
Miss
So
Melony, who's your favorite?
So I'm not a huge anime person, but I'll go with the most mainstream one right now. So I'm a My Hero Academia
Oh,
girl.
My Hero's also so good.
Oh
Yo,
my god, that manga is shaping up so nicely right now.
And
But
as
have you guys seen Spy Family though?
Yes. Yours,
That
my
show-
new waifu. Oh
That
my
show's
god.
creepy.
and
Don't sleep on that show.
I've already said my favorite was Tina Turner.
Sorry.
Watch
Nah.
Spy
and
Family. I
she
knew
was,
to be protected at all
she
costs.
was in Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, by the way.
She was. She was. That is true.
All right. Okay. What about video games? Is everybody into video games?
Yeah.
I don't have enough thumbs.
I got my Wii controller, I got my Xbox controller,
Right. You know, it's funny. I have the newest
got my
Xbox.
Switch.
I have the newest Xbox, but my nephew makes fun of me. My nephews make fun of me because I buy the new stuff when it comes out, but then I find myself playing the old arcade games, from when I was a kid. So, so it's like you got a brand new Xbox to play like Frogger.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's zero wrong with that.
Playing all those Atari games.
Like, he was
First
making
game
fun of
I
me.
always download on any game system is Tetris, so I'm okay. You're
My nephew was making fun of me because I was like he's showing me how to set it up and stuff. Because now apparently I'm a senior citizen. I need the help. and I'm all like, "Ooh, Space Invaders! Download that!"
Yep.
But he turned me
Pac-Man
on-
and Donkey Kong.
He turned me
Yep.
on to this side-scrolling game that I have that is relatively new. I mean, it's been out in the last couple of years. It's called My Best Friend Pedro, and that game is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I've actually played it a bunch of times. So that is it's newish, and I always play like Resident Evil 4. I love that game. I play it like all the time. So,
Now-
yeah.
If Nintendo brought back Maniac Mansion, I would be happy. I would probably buy me a Nintendo.
I remember that. See, now when we start talking NES,
and I
if we-
did love
if we
Zelda.
talk NES, like I played all of that. Like I played Ghosts and Goblins and Castlevania and of course Legend of Zelda and
Mhm.
all the Mario Brothers and all of that kind of stuff. And I've had every system of Nintendo except for I even had the GameCube. So I've had them all.
GameCube was fun.
Yeah, I had all. It looked like a some sort of lunch pail or something. It was a weird, very weird shape. So all right. So who's some of you guys' favorite video? What's some of your favorite video game titles?
Who you starting with?
You talking about current gen or last gen or
Any of all
Anything? Oh man. I have always been a giant robot guy. That's always been my shit. So Zone of the Enders never get enough love for me. I love that series and Armor Core because of I like to customize my own thing. The Armor Core, you can make your own robot, paint it up, and whatever weapons you want to do. Everything down to the engine you can do. And I love that series and I miss it every day. And every time they release a new Dark Souls game and a new Armor Core game, it pisses me off just that much more.
Okay. What about you, Mark?
I don't know. I have to say, right now I'm playing a game called Tunic on the Xbox, and It is crazy. It reminds me so much of Zelda, and I can see the comparison. But overall, I really, really love the BioShock series.
BioShock.
Ooh,
Okay.
good
That's
one.
a good one. That's a good one.
BioShock is great.
What about you, Melony?
So I am a big Animal Crosser. So I'm
Oh yeah, that's
my
like
island,
back in the
my
day. Yeah, yeah.
island. No, right now it's
It's
huge
still
right
it's back
now.
in the, oh wow. See,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
out. I'm out of it.
yeah. No, on the Switch, they put out Animal Crossing. So yeah, so I Animal Cross. Assassin's Creed is something
Love
I
it.
play a
Love it.
lot right now.
That's fun.
Yeah, so yeah, those are my two big ones, right? Oh yeah, and all the Star Wars games. So I'm doing the
Battlefront.
new Star Wars game. Yeah.
Battlefront's pretty dope. And you don't play Alexis, right?
I'm not really into like gaming consoles. I'm more of like a PC kind of gamer.
Oh,
like
okay.
I do WoW.
Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah.
Oh, what you know
Wow,
about
person.
Larry?
Anybody
okay.
got love for Pokemon still? Is that something?
Yes,
Yeah,
Pokemon. Yeah,
Pokemon.
100% Pokemon. Yeah. I'm
Look,
Sword
I
and Shield. I haven't picked up the new one yet.
I put 10 down on Scarlet and Violet. It comes at the end of the year already. And Legend of Arceus was like my favorite Pokemon experience. Easily.
And
if you haven't played that, go ahead and play that.
What about Smash Brothers? Anybody like Smash Brothers?
When did Pokemon come out?
Love Smash Brothers until you play an actual pro player, and then it's not fun no more.
Look, you know, you want something? Here's something sad. My 5 almost. I'm gonna say he's almost 6, so I won't look so bad. But it's still bad. He kicks my butt every time in Smash Brothers. We play on the Switch when he comes over.
Yeah. I love Smash Brothers.
And he's not humble about his victory.
Why should he be?
Of course not. He's being an adult.
I'm just sitting there like, I don't have no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying to play this game. I'm like, wait, I knocked him.
Buttons.
Yeah, I'm like, how does it? I knocked you off the thing, and you just jump, and you're back on the thing. What the hell? The hell, man! It's cheating. You're cheating.
We'll
My
talk when the
nephew
recording's off.
kicks my
If
butt
you want to
again.
beat him, I got you.
You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I need like one of those Rocky montages of me getting ready for him. You know. So,
The game that I forget the name of the game where everybody was like all the rage and they do like all the dances and stuff like that. What is that stupid game?
Dance Revolution.
No. It's a
oh, you're talking about Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Oh,
My nephew.
my God.
Oh my God. He's like, Auntie Keisha, you want to play Fortnite with me? And so then I'm like, okay, I'll play Fortnite with you. He's like, you keep getting killed.
That's me. I that game. It didn't catch on with me. Like I didn't. Like I'm like, okay, I'm building. What am I building? And I'm shooting. Am I shooting? Am I building? What the hell am I doing?
Like, right. You're trying to keep people outside your fort and all this kind of stuff. I was like, he is building ceilings and all. I was like, I don't understand this, but okay.
No idea. I'm like,
what you should do? You should challenge them some Mario Kart. Old school.
Oh yeah, Mario Kart.
I love Mario Kart.
Everybody will have to play Mario Kart.
That thing used to ruin friendships back in the day.
That was
I used to play Mortal Kombat for money.
Mario Kart was fun, but see, I'm gonna go way back.
I played Madden for money.
I'm gonna go way back. Do y'all remember like track and field on NES?
Being
a little pad. You gotta be like this on the pad, right?
Wow.
Ordinary.
Or playing what's it, duck shoot or Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Duck hunt. Yeah.
Tecmo Bowl.
That was fun.
Wow!
Someone brought up Ninja Turtles. They had the arcade Ninja Turtle game.
Yeah, that was such a fun game.
My little brothers were Ninja Turtle crazy, so we had Ninja Turtle everything.
But see, I still have it downloaded to my Xbox, the original Ninja Turtle one.
Oh wow. Okay, so here's the last thing I'm going to ask you guys about, and before we say goodbye, as far as fandoms are concerned, has anybody ever fallen in love with something and then fell out of love with it based on, I don't know, maybe just got older or maybe it started sucking, or whatever it is? Like, can you say that any of your fandoms, or is it like you just been riding with it to the wheels fall off? You still on there?
Anybody want to go first, or
go ahead, JB?
No, go ahead.
All right. For me, it was pro wrestling, and I think wrestling is part of the nerd culture. It was something that I started watching with me, my dad, my brother, and my now deceased uncle. We started watching it together, and I watched everything. I went to every show that was here. I saw, if y'all know Goldberg, I saw Goldberg win his first championship here.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was just something I was just super into. And then one day I stopped, and I stopped for a long time. But then I came back, and I think wrestling is better now better than ever.
It is.
Especially now that it's out that a lot of wrestlers are nerds, and that nerd culture and wrestling kind of go hand in hand. I mean, if you really think about it, wrestling is anime for rednecks, and WrestleMania season finale.
It's so funny you say that. It's funny you say this because I have a somewhat similar thing. When I was a kid, I watched wrestling, and this is gonna really date me. My favorite wrestler when I was a kid was the Iron Sheik. Okay, so that's how long ago.
Nice.
That's how long ago it was.
You should follow him on Twitter.
And then he's still alive. Wow. And then I stopped watching it. Right. So I missed, like, I just stopped watching it, you know. And then I didn't look. I'll be honest with you. Stone Cold Steve Austin, I only knew because I heard like people talk about him. I seen his face. I didn't really know who he was like that. The Rock, for example, he was that guy that was on the Wyclef song. You know, like you know, like I thought that was Wyclef's joint. That he was. I didn't know that was his catchphrase, right? Like you know what I'm saying? And until he became like a movie star, I really didn't. I didn't watch wrestling, so I didn't know. I knew this one girl that I was involved with. She was obsessed with The Rock, so that's how kind of I knew who he was. So she kind of was annoying with it, you know, like because she was like obsessed with this guy. But so I missed all of that. I knew Rikishi only because everybody was sharing like the whole his booty thing,
The big butt.
right?
Oh, wow.
So
His twin boys are killing it now, by the way.
So, but here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. A couple of weeks ago, I was on the internet on YouTube, and I just saw in the corner. I was watching something that had nothing to do with wrestling, and it said the 1992 Royal Rumble, and I just looked at it. I watched the whole thing, and I'm like cracking up, right? Because this is so goofy, right? And it's a little homoerotic too. So I'm watching this, right? And Ric Flair wins, right? And it was pretty fun. I had a good time. So I went on the rabbit hole, and I started watching a bunch of the Royal Rumbles, right? And then I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a good time to kind of see The Rock's wrestling career, like because it's all on YouTube. And I'm sitting there busting up laughing. It was so funny. Like I'm sitting there cracking up. Like I didn't realize it was that funny. So I start calling my friends who are deep wrestling fans. I'm like, you didn't tell me The Rock was so hilarious. Like I had no idea. And I didn't know the whole it doesn't matter was like his little catchphrase or I knew the eyebrow thing and I knew a couple of things. And I'm sitting there and they're like, you know, this is ancient history, right? And I'm like, it's new to me. So I started watching like all of that stuff, and for like a solid couple of weeks, I was like watching all the old WWE things. But it's funny that you said it. I'm not watching the new stuff, so I know there's the guy Roman Reigns is the
My uncle.
You are missing out.
I gotta. Let me chime in on this. So I've been a wrestling fan ever since. Like, I never stopped watching wrestling. I'm watching it to this day. One thing. Stone Cold actually just had a wrestling match.
Oh wow!
At WrestleMania, and it was
37 days ago.
See his old butt down somewhere.
Is he like,
no.
Like he took suplexes and everything.
Really? Was he like 60? Ain't he about 60 though?
57.
Yeah.
I think. Like
Oh
57.
my goodness, that is crazy.
It was really good.
Oh wow!
See, I remember wrestling. Well, I forget. I think they were called the Bushwhackers. They used to be like, I hated wrestling though. My uncle used to watch it, and we had to watch it because my uncle Corey, who's 4 years older than me, he controlled the TV, and so I remember like the Junkyard Dog and Jake the Snake, and you know that kind of Ric Flair. I remember that. I just hated watching wrestling though. I was like, oh, I hate when Corey comes over because we can't never watch the TV.
I didn't know like John Cena was supposed to be this rapper dude, like, and all of this stuff. And that stuff was I was so not on my radar, but
Yeah.
I'm just in the last 2 weeks.
Cena's great.
You know, in the last like couple of weeks, I've seen like a bunch of that stuff, and I'm just cracking up. And my friend Josh, who I do podcasts with, he's a big wrestling guy, and I'm like calling him up. I'm like, man, this is funny, dude. And he's like, yeah, I know. I've been trying to get you to watch it. Like, you know, I'm like, hey, man, I'm at the party now. So I'm
If you want to see some good matches, I could point them out to you.
Okay,
no, that's another thing. Is give AEW a shot. It is an amazing wrestling organization that just started up. They're only about 3 years old, but they're giving WWE a run for their money. But they are just as good. You remember Steve? He's wrestling.
And if you want to see some people just straight lay into each other, if you want to see some people just straight lay into each other, I recommend New Japan Pro Wrestling because they put on classics. They put on bangers over there regularly. And some of the best matches I've ever seen come from them.
All right.
Doesn't The Rock have some type of platform where it's like wrestling or something he's working on? There's something that he's doing.
XXF. It's football. The XXF.
It's football.
XXF.
Okay. I was like, I know he's doing something that's
So, Anthony, what's up, Anthony? Frequent contributor to the show, Anthony Alston. Okay, so real quick, so we got JBs. Anybody had any fandoms that they were part of that they left, or they stopped messing with because, or you guys are just?
So for me, I took a small. Well, I had to take a small break from Harry, but I guess I didn't take an official break from Harry Potter. But when J.K. Rowling started being ridiculous, I felt it was difficult to be a Harry Potter fan for a little while, because it was hard to like separate, or I had to figure out how to separate the author from the work, I guess. So for a little while, it was hard to be a Harry Potter fan, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was a little while for a little while because I was like really, really deep in the Harry Potter fandom. I collect a lot of Harry Potter stuff. I have so much Harry Potter stuff. I cosplay some of it too. So it was hard for a little while to be a Harry Potter fan because I didn't want to be a proud Ravenclaw when like J.K. Rowling was being stupid. So that was hard. But I mean, it was. Now I just don't mention her. I'm a proud Ravenclaw, and I just ignore the books. Magically appeared.
I think that's like meeting a celebrity. When you like something so much, and then you find out a person or celebrity or a person's likeness that their real self is not what you would think it would be. It ruins your whole entire experience. And so I usually try not to meet people that I absolutely love now, even though I'm planning on meeting Thundercat. But and I manifest David Banner.
I met David Banner a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
I got to meet him. I have been saying that I was going to meet David Banner for like a year. And my cousin was like, yeah, right, you're not going to meet David Banner. I was like, yes, I am. And then I sent her a picture with him standing at my vendor table. I was like, I told you I was going to meet David Banner. And he gave me a hug, and I'm never washing my body again. No. But I think that when some people just need to stay the creator. I just don't want to know anything about your personal, because as soon as it comes out that you are less than subpar as a human, I don't want to deal with you anymore.
My favorite rapper is now deceased, and
MF Doom.
Yeah, how'd you know?
I love Doom. Man, I love Doom.
Doom is my favorite rapper, and that would suck if I had met him and he was a dick, and then because I listen to his music all the time, so that would be like, I would have to hate it. I would have to start hate listening or something. I don't that would suck. Sometimes, I thought about that often, like if I met someone that I,
and then if you had met him, what if it wouldn't have been, you don't never know it was him?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because
right?
so many people. Yeah, he wouldn't even be on stage sometimes. He would have sent somebody with his same body build with his mask on.
I kind of feel like, though, I'm such a fan, I feel like I would know it's him. I'd be like, if it was like a fake Doom, I'd be like, dude, you're not Doom.
You're a fucking
you're not Doom, dude. Like, but I know, he did do that. Like, and just as a side note, like, he does the interviews, and his interviews are, like, very rarely has this guy done interviews, and his interviews are weird sometimes. The way that his affect and the way he comes off. So I don't know. I could see meeting him, and it may not go the way you wanted it to go. But yeah, I think that would be my situation. Is meeting somebody, or because the way that I think, right? Like, I don't know who's your guys' favorite actors or something, like, like maybe like Denzel or somebody like that. Who I actually had a chance to meet. He was really cool, but just think if he wasn't, then I love his movie so much. Like, it's like I'd be like, no more Training Day. Yeah,
Jake was right.
right. Yeah, let me just watch
Ghostface.
his spoiler alert. Let me just watch his death scene over again.
I met Ghostface Killer and I was happy that he was a cool guy. He was really cool and he let me hug him, and it was a really cool experience because I heard he's an asshole too when he wants to be, but but he was a cool dude.
Before we go, let around the room. Has anybody ever met any of their idols or their people that you're big fans of? We just go down the room. We'll start off with you, Melony. Have you ever met anybody that you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've met a couple of people. I did get to meet what's his name? The guy who plays Lando Calrissian. Why is his name escaping
Donald
me?
Williams.
Donald Glover or
Billy D.
Williams?
Billy D. Williams. I did.
Oh, okay.
I got to meet Billy D. Williams while I was dressed as Lando Calrissian. I did a female version of his, so that was cool.
Wow.
That was really fun. Yeah, so I got to meet him. That was fun. But yeah, I think I've met a couple of people. But mostly, so not, I guess, on the music side. So I've met a lot of musicians. So I've met a lot of musicians, a lot of rappers, actually. So that's always been fun.
All right. What about you, Marcus? Have you had any opportunities?
Yeah. When you go to cons, you meet plenty of people. One of my favorite persons I ever spoke with was Billy West, who does so many different voices.
Oh, wow.
And I also met like various different wrestlers. So yeah.
All right. What about you, JB?
He's funny. He mentioned wrestlers because I met Diamond Dallas Page last year.
Oh, dope.
The nicest guy. Curses a lot. I did mention I met David Banner a couple weeks ago. That was super random. He was a super nice guy. I met the majority of the voice actors that did the primary characters from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, wow.
They were super nice, super funny. Sean Schimmel is hilarious. Who else? I met Monique a couple times. That was different. And let's see. I met Aaron Donald, that plays for the Rams.
Oh, he's a beast.
Yeah, man. He looks like Thanos, like for real.
Yeah.
I've met. I mean, living in Atlanta, you run into people, so we'd be here for a while. But yeah, I've run into quite a few.
What about you, Alexis? Anybody that you are
I've met. I met some of the voice actors from like My Little Pony, which I'm a huge My Little Pony fan. Which was they were obviously very sweet.
Friendship is magic.
Yes, and then I met Dan Fogler from the Harry Potter series. He plays Jacob, the baker guy, and he was super cute and squishy, and I love him so much. I gave him a hug, and it was so awesome.
That's so cute.
That's my homework assignment to watch. When we do a part 2, I'll get in. I'll get in a couple of Harry Potters.
Sorry, I should also mention that through my book club, we meet a lot of the authors that write some of the books that we read. So I run a sci-fi book club, and we have some of the authors that read that from the books that we read come and talk to us. So I've met a lot of those authors.
That's amazing.
Sean McVay, I played against in high school. He was now the Rams head coach.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I went to high school with Carrie Hilson.
Oh man, she's nice.
Man, she's sweetheart. Real sweetheart.
Yeah, I don't know about her music, but
Miss Carrie, baby.
Okay, so I mean, there's so many people I've met over the years. As far as the rap game, I had a very cool experience. So I used to work at a movie theater right out of high school, and it was in Beverly Hills. And they were having a premiere for this movie called Rhyme and Reason. And it was a hip hop documentary. And a big hip hop guy, grew up, listening to hip hop. And if you everybody that was in the movie was there
Dope.
at the premiere, right? And Biggie was there. This was a week before he passed away. He
Oh,
actually passed away right up the street from where I'm at right now. And
Mm.
I walked past the crime scene, didn't even know it that night until the
Wow.
next morning. It's at the
wow.
Peterson Automotive. But he was there at my job a week before he died.
That's
He was
crazy.
there. Redman was there. Ice-T was there. And then, I mean, I'm Tribe Called Quest is my favorite group of all time. They were there. But one of the coolest things was the Wu-Tang Clan was there.
Woo.
And they were all there. Every single one of them was there that you want to see. Because it's just like
I'm gonna say
it's
they
like
crew is
100.
deep.
It's like 100 of them, but it was a lot of them there. And the cool thing was that night, so they're smoking weed in the lobby, smoking blunts, right? And so we had this really cornball, a white guy who was a manager, and he called himself Trey. And so he's going nuts because all these rappers are smoking weed in the lobby, right? But this is way before it was legal, right? And so Trey comes up to me, and I'm an usher, right? And I'm like, my eyes are big, right? Because all my favorite rappers are in the lobby, right? And he goes up to me and he goes, can you tell that gentleman over there to put out his cigar? And I looked at Trey and I said, okay, that gentleman over there is Old Dirty Bastard.
I wish I would tell him to put out.
And that's not a cigar, that's a blunt. I am not telling Old Dirty Bastard to put out his blunt. Are you crazy? So the manager goes over to Old Dirty. I shit you not. He says, Mr. Bastard, there's no smoking in the lobby. and he takes a big drag of his blunt and blows the smoke in his face and walks away.
Hilarious.
So he just had to go with the flow.
That's hilarious.
So when the movie was over and the ushers, we opened the big doors, right? And it was like a Cheech and Chong movie. It was like a big cloud of smoke comes out. It was ridiculous. It was really cool. It was very cool. And like I said, Biggie was there, and unfortunately, he died a week later. That was partly the reason why he was there, as well as the award show that was a week later. But yeah, that was a pretty cool night as far as hip hop. But I've met all kind of, I met Kobe before. I'm a big basketball fan. Yeah. So, but anyway, this was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. And we got to do a part 2. This was amazing. And there's so much more. I have like so many more notes that I didn't even get to, but that's how you know when you have a great conversation is we just let the conversation where it goes. So I want to start off. I always like to start off with the ladies, and we're going to start off with Alexis. If you can not only tell us how we can reach you, what should we be on the lookout for and whatnot?
Ooh, I'm on Instagram. You can find me. My personal Instagram is at Lex_Arcana. It's kind of like a little pinup page. And then you can also find me at Ains and Elke Style House, which you can read on the screen right there. I produce events, and I also design clothes for nerds. So come on by.
All right. And Miss Melony, how can we get you on social media? And what should we be on the lookout for? And you have a podcast as well.
I do, yeah. So I have a podcast called Let's Get Down to Disney. So you can find us on anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We talk about anything Disney related. If it's on Disney Plus, we talk about it. And you can find me at Miss Melony anywhere on all of the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere. Type in Miss Melony, I will pop up. And I have a book club, Chimera Readers. We read a book a week. We read sci-fi and fantasy books. And find us, check us out. And I also cosplay, so you might see me at your next local con.
All right. And just as a side note before we get to the fellas, a big shout out to Madeline for hooking me up with JB. as well as big shout out to Cher, who's a friend to the show, who comes on all the time. Was going to come on tonight, but she had double booked herself for Alexis and as Marcus as well. Those are great friends of mine, and thank you so much. I would be remiss without giving them a shout out. So let's go to Marcus. How can we get you in social media, and what should we be on the lookout for with you,
All right,
if
well,
anything?
I really don't have any projects. I'm just a everyday average Joe. I'm always in the community, helping out, doing different community events. So you can just find me on Instagram just to see some of the things that we do throughout the city of Jacksonville, and right there on your window there. But I'm also a part of what's known as the DIM Project, which is like it's a center which helps women escape from the things like sex trafficking and sex trade. So if you know any woman who's going through like different troubles or looking to get away, or maybe just got out of prison and looking to get a fresh start, definitely look at the DIMP ministry or the dimpproject.com.org.
All right, and thank you so much for doing that work. His work is so important and definitely needed. So thank you. All right, and JB, how can we get you in social media and all that good stuff? And what should we be on the lookout for with you?
Dang, that was tough on the follow. All right. You can find me you can find me at JB versus the World on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I have my Twitter, JBV the World, because versus was just too long for it. And you can find me on my central hub at jbversustheworld.com. Look out for my Doctor Strange review. I'm doing a non-spoiler this week, well, in a couple of days, and then I'll be following up with a spoiler review soon after that. So if you want to talk Doctor Strange with me, you can follow my YouTube right there, and you can argue with me on Twitter about it if you want to. I'm there all the time.
Well, I'm going to spoil Doctor Strange just a little bit. He does magic in this one.
Oh, you rat bastard.
And it was strange. No, I haven't seen the movie yet. But I might see it this week. That sounds good.
You should.
And Mosaic, how can we get you in social media and all that good stuff?
You can find me. I'm not Miss Melony, but you can find me.
Oh God!
I'm not going to say that.
Oh my God! Wait, hold on a second. Oh my God! Wait a minute. There we go. My bad. I hit the wrong.
I am. You can find me on Instagram at Mosaic Star. You can find me on Twitter at Mosaic, or you can find me at Mosaic Star on Clubhouse as well. New and upcoming stuff. Still working on the biz. Still working on getting stuff together. Trying to get this beauty products together. Also, still working with homeless youth ages 18 to 24, helping them get housed and teaching them life skills, and going off on a few every now and then who try to get a little crazy. But we doing it. We doing the Lord's work out here, keeping the children off the street.
Nice.
All right.
Amen.
All right. And of course, you can get me at Kinte F on Twitter, Kinte Ferguson on Instagram. And of course, the website is theindyradio.com. That's theindyradio.com. Tomorrow night, right here at the same network, we have our show Pilot Season. That's a show where we take a look at TV show pilots. We do comedy and drama. And tomorrow night, our two shows that we're going to be covering is the pilot of The Office, as well as the pilot for The Sopranos. So
I love The Office so much.
And I'm actually I've never seen The Office, so this is my first time. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we did this thing called Virgin Alert, where one of the panelists hasn't seen the show.
That's
so
awesome.
This week I'm the virgin. So for that show, but shows that we've done so far, we started off with Get Smart. We did Homicide: Life on the Street. We did Gilligan's Island. We did Lost. Of course, it was an island theme that day. We did Golden Girls, as well as what was the show we did? Oh, Twin Peaks with Golden Girls. So and then last week we did X-Files, and I think that's the one we did with the Golden Girls. My bad. So yeah, we've done quite a bit of stuff. So some of the shows that we're going to do in the future is we're gonna do Breaking Bad, I'm sure, and we're gonna do Sanford and Son, and Living Single are shows that we're gonna cover. So we're gonna do like all over the gambit. So at some point we're gonna do Battlestar Galactica. That was a really great show too.
Nice.
That was nice.
But yeah, we're covering a lot of shows. That one's called Pilot Season, and that's tomorrow. It starts at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern, and we will cover both of those programs. So that's tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your week, and God bless.
Stay black, y'all.
Nice.
Peace.